Another day, another day of chaos. I've said this over and over and over again. Chaos creates political instability. Political instability creates financial instability. Now, there's so much going on, right? I could talk about what's going on with the stock market. That's been a disaster. This issue with the tariffs, right? The tariffs are on now, they're off again. Maybe when I go to bed tonight, they're on again. That's all chaos, right? And so I'm going to ask you a question. If you're doing business with someone and they tell you one thing, and then the next day they tell you another, and then the same day they change their mind again, and then 3 days later they change their mind, and then nothing is working out, and then they call you again and they say, let's just go back to the original agreement. Would you continue doing business with that individual or that company? You would say no. You would say this is nothing pure, nothing but pure chaos. And all this does is distract me. I have a business to run. And every moment I spend dealing with this person is another moment I'm not dedicated to my business. I will take my business elsewhere. Now, it is possible that that business might charge you more for the same product, might charge you less, might be better quality, might even be inferior. But there's one thing that it is, it's consistent. And the markets love consistency. And so do we. Nobody likes to ride a roller coaster when it comes to economics. We don't mind riding one for fun, right? Go down to the fair and have a good time. But when it comes to your money, you don't like to see your 401k one day at 60,000 and the next day at 40,000. Nobody likes that. But again, chaos, political instability, financial instability. So now apparently, just like that, based on phone calls from, I guess, presidents and prime ministers from other countries, the tariffs have been on pause for 90 days. No deals have been done. Supposedly, these calls took place. Whether they took place or not, time will tell. But there's no deal. So, what's the point of having a tariff to then, based on a phone call, delay it for 90 days? We've seen this already happen with Canada and Mexico. There's no reason to believe it's going to be any different. But you see that what that chaos has created in the stock market and has wiped out a lot of people. It is hurting businesses. The tariffs are already hurting businesses because they don't know what's going to come tomorrow. Instability never works. It doesn't work in business. It doesn't work in personal lives. It doesn't work in a marriage. It doesn't work in a relationship. It doesn't work in education. It doesn't work anywhere. Might make for great movies, but not for real life. And so again, that's part of all this chaos that's going on. And businesses I'm seeing in the news that are already hurting. Maybe they can or cannot get products from China. China's been canceling products. Amazon has canceled I don't know how many millions of dollars in products that they had coming over. So it's all part of what I keep saying. I don't care what your political party is. I don't care if you're blue state, purple state, red state, yellow state, any color you want to come up with, it's going to affect you. We are all in this ride together. So, as much as the country wants to be divided over politics, that's fine. But I tell you what will unite the country economics. And so, it is what it is. Division is a great way for a country or a business to fall. You can't run a business when everybody who's on the board, if there's 9 board members, have 9 different points of view. It just can't work that way. Being divisive, being divided is not the way it works in corporate America. Certainly isn't working in political America. But now let me talk about another subject that I saw this morning and I said, this is ridiculous. We've been hearing that lawyers are now going to be attacked by the Department of Justice or the Trump presidency, right? And we could blow it off like, oh, that's lawyers just talking garbage. Well, there was a lawyer the other day who came back from vacation in Dominican Republic, and because his client's a high-profile immigration client, he got stopped at the airport, and they questioned him for 2 hours, and they wanted access to his cell phone. Let's just make this clear: that's illegal. It's that simple, especially for a lawyer who has what we call work product, confidential information there. He actually even went to the trouble where they're saying, well, just go through the information that's not confidential and give that to us. Really? You know how many thousands of emails we have? That's why typically that happens in a court case. The judge hires, or not hires, but appoints a special magistrate to go through all that information to try to figure out what information is confidential and work product and what is not. So, for example, if I email a cousin and I said, let's go play golf this weekend, okay, fine. They can see that email. But anything related to my clients cannot be, or for example, crimes. That's not going to be protected either. But this issue of they're attacking the lawyers. We've seen the executive orders, right, saying that this law firm lost their security clearance or this law firm doesn't have access to the courthouse, which is beyond stupidity. But I saw a new one today, and this one has a financial impact. Lawyers for the government, DOJ, etc., cannot be members of the ABA, the American Bar Association. Think about that for a second. Can't be members. Apparently, the ABA is a leftist organization. Just to be clear, the ABA is a voluntary organization, the largest organization that we have for lawyers. They could advocate, of course, in Congress. They could testify. They could submit briefs, what we call amicus briefs, friend of the court, where they might argue a position. That's common. That happens all the time. They offer CLE courses, continuing legal education courses. We pay for that. We get credits. Every state has a certain amount of credits that you need to take every X amount of time to maintain your license. I know Florida, I think they upped it. It's 36 credits now every 3 years. So I will go to the ABA website, watch a video. They sometimes give you quizzes. You get your 2, 3 credits, whatever it is, and you move on and you keep doing this till you get your 36 credits, right? But now Trump is not allowing lawyers from the DOJ to be part of the ABA or participate in their events. They have events all the time, all over the country, right? Meet and greet. You get to meet other lawyers. Maybe you get to do business with them. That's gone now. From an economic perspective, obviously this is going to cost the ABA a few dollars, right? Because they're going to lose membership. Those memberships cost whatever they cost per month. CLE credits, those courses aren't free. They're actually pretty expensive. So now they start losing money, and they're going to have to lay off staff. No different than we're seeing at the federal level, right? Laying off the IRS workers, probationary officers, those who work for the national park system. More chaos, right? By the way, I'm still waiting for my Doge check, and I'm still waiting to see all this fraud that's been uncovered, because apparently yet they can stop lawyers at the airport and they can write executive orders, but we can't find one person that committed some sort of fraud with Social Security. That's kind of odd, isn't it? Well, anyway, I'll give you a hint. There is nobody. There might be one person. Obviously, they haven't found them yet. I mean, it's a system, it's not that easy to steal from Social Security. I don't know where these 200-year-olds are, but apparently we haven't found them where they've been collecting Social Security. I'm assuming it's a family member or something. No one's figured this out yet. It's all gibberish. It's all lies. It's all smoke and mirrors. But going back to the ABA, that now you can't be a member of the ABA is absurd. It has a financial impact. And that's why I keep arguing, no matter what, be prepared. You're getting hit from all angles financially. Someone who went to work today for the ABA never could have dreamed this up, and then realized I might lose my job over this just because there's cuts, just because there's less revenue coming in. Now, from a practical standpoint, here's some friendly advice to the federal government. You just pissed off an entire organization, the largest organization in the country, run by lawyers, with lawyer members. What do you think is going to happen? There's going to be a lawsuit. If there's not one filed by tomorrow, I'd be shocked definitely by Monday. The problem is, and here we go again, lawsuits cost money. More money spent. You now have DOJ lawyers going to have to argue in court why this is okay under the First Amendment, which it is not. And we're going to clog the system with this, right? And by the way, is it just going to be the ABA in general, or are there going to be branch offices that they could sue? So this can become a mess in a hurry. But when you look at it from that angle, what about your case? Why hasn't your case been heard yet? Because the courts are being flooded with garbage executive orders going against law firms, garbage executive orders now like you can't be a member of the ABA. That's not dictatorship. I don't know what other word we can use. Someone can enlighten me, but it sure as hell sounds like a dictatorship when you're telling lawyers that they cannot be member of a voluntary organization which has liberals, which has conservatives, which has a little bit of everything, because it's just an organization for lawyers. It's like saying you can't be a member of the Florida bar. They're too leftist. There's a lot of conservatives in the Florida bar, just like there's a lot of those that are on the left side too. It's just garbage. But all this garbage, all this chaos, it either costs money, like I keep saying, whether it's revenue, or it's going to result in spending money one way or another. Spending money in court, because time is money. And you're going to see these cases argued in court. These DOJ lawyers are going to be stuck wasting their time on that instead of something more important, like maybe crimes were committed. You even have Attorney General Pat Bionde suspend someone because they didn't really have an argument to make in court regarding one of these issues of executive order. And I posted on social media that lawyer had two choices: make a gibberish, frivolous argument and get sanctioned by the court, or get fired. Lawyer did the right thing. Legally and morally and ethically, we are not allowed to go into court and make garbage arguments. That's just not the way that it works. So you're going to see a lot more lawyers either quitting or getting fired or getting sanctioned if they're actually crazy enough to make that argument. But again, all this chaos, it's going to cost money one way or another. The only issue is, can you figure out how it's going to affect you? So if you're in a business, for example, you're self-employed, you're an entrepreneur, what steps can you take to prevent that money going out the door? If you're not, let's just say you're a W-2 employee, the answer is a little simpler. Hold back. Hold back on your money. What am I going to do? I've seen it, endless times on social media, and I've been advocating that since before Trump entered office. Now may not be the time to get creative with money and start spending money. I just posted a video, I think yesterday or the day before, saying relocation. I don't know. My wife and I have to think about it. The answer for now is no. If we come across an offer, like Don Vito Corleone would say, an offer he couldn't refuse, then we'll take it. But maybe now's not the time to run the risk of relocating to the other side of the country and maybe something goes wrong. We don't know what. And that's the whole point of holding back. We got to hold back and see what steps we're going to take. If you're in business, again, and there's plenty of interviews out there with business owners saying how this is affecting them. If you get your products from China, you might have to start getting them from somewhere else if possible. So adapt to the situation, analyze your situation, write everything down on a piece of paper and look at all the angles. Then come back and do it again to see if you miss another angle, because there's all these angles that we're getting hit upon from, and it makes it difficult to figure out which angle is next and what can I do. So business owners, I feel empathy for you. I know it's not easy right now with all this chaos. Again, W-2 employees have a little bit easier. They might be able to hold back, but their business is now facing those issues potentially as well. All right. So thank you for joining me in the video. Take care, everybody. Any questions or comments, feel free to post them in the comment section below.